In the heart of Portland, Oregon, at the Northwest Orient Airlines ticket counter, a man named Dan Cooper stepped forward. He was calm, composed, and nearly 40, dressed in a sharp suit with an aura of quiet confidence. He purchased a one-way ticket for Flight 305, bound for Seattle, Washington. No one at that time knew that this would become the beginning of one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in modern history. It was the 1970s, a time when airport security was not that advanced compared to today's standards. Cooper moved through the terminal with ease, blending into the crowd. His seat was 18C. Shortly after boarding, before the plane even took off, Cooper ordered a whiskey and a soda. There were 35 passengers on board that day. Flight 305 took off from Portland, but only 10 minutes into the flight, Cooper summoned a flight attendant. Calmly and without hesitation, he handed her a piece of paper. She took it, assuming it was just another phone number from a businessman, and slipped it into her pocket, uninterested. But Cooper's plan was precise. After a few moments of silence, he gestured to her again, his voice steady yet menacing.
"Ma'am, you might want to read that note. I have a bomb."
Her heart skipped a beat. Trembling, she unfolded the paper and, with growing dread, realized this wasn't a joke. She looked at him and sat down beside him. He gently opened his briefcase, revealing the wires, the bomb. Time stood still. She nodded, terrified, as Cooper calmly laid out his demands. $200,000 in cash, specifically in $20 bills, and 4 parachutes. When the plane landed, it was to be refueled, and no one, absolutely no one, was to approach the aircraft. His voice was firm, but in a polite way. Shaken, the attendant hurried to the cockpit, delivering the information to the pilots. As the plane circled over Seattle, Cooper sat back, cool as ever, ordering another whiskey. He wore his black sunglasses now, concealing any emotion, any trace of nerves. He was the master of this moment, and everyone else was just a pawn in his meticulously crafted game. Two hours passed. He sat, waiting, sipping his drink. The president of Northwest Orient himself approved the ransom. And, in the dead of night, the cash and parachutes were assembled. Finally, the message came.
"Sir, your demands have been met."
The plane descended into Seattle, landing quietly. Cooper was specific. No one was to come near the aircraft, and all the windows were to remain closed. Soon, the ransom and parachutes were delivered to the cabin, just as he had ordered. Cooper allowed the passengers and senior flight attendants to leave, unharmed, blissfully unaware of the drama they had narrowly escaped. The aircraft was refueled as Cooper made his way to the cockpit. His next destination, Mexico. But there were conditions. The flight was to remain low, below 10,000 feet, and at a speed slower than normal. With only 5 souls left on board, 2 pilots, 2 flight attendants, and Cooper, the plane once again took to the skies, heading south. Unknown to Cooper, the FBI was already in pursuit. 5 military jets tailed the aircraft, invisible in the darkness. Sometime later, Cooper made his final request to the remaining flight attendants to go inside the cockpit and remain there. The flight droned on, quiet, until suddenly, the emergency alarm blared. The flight attendants rushed out only to find the rear AFT door wide open. The cold wind howled through the cabin. Dan Cooper was gone. Somewhere, over the dense, snowy mountains of the Pacific Northwest in the dead of night, Cooper had jumped. The FBI quickly calculated the location of the jump and mobilized a massive search in the desolate, freezing forest. But days turned into weeks, and there was no sign of Cooper, no body, no parachute, no footprints. He had disappeared without a trace. For years, the trail remained ice cold. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed him whole. Then, almost a decade later, in 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram made a startling discovery. While digging near the banks of a river in Vancouver, Washington, he found something unexpected, a crumbled, decayed $20 bill. The serial number matched the ransom money stolen by Cooper, yet the location where the money was found made no sense. It was far from the jump zone. How had the money ended up there? And more importantly, where was Cooper? To this day, the questions remain unanswered. Dan Cooper, if that was even his real name, vanished into thin air, leaving behind only whispers, a few tattered bills, and a legend that endures. Was he a mastermind who escaped with a fortune? Or did he meet a cold, lonely end in the mountains? The truth? Only Cooper knows.